back. It's Kim. It's Lucy. Lucy's kind of hiding. I've got some laundry on the bed and she's hiding behind it. There she is. You see her little head? There she is. How's everybody doing? I hope everyone's doing well. So I'm going to talk about kind of several different things. I hope it's not too scattered around, but I had a lot of questions from different people, and I think people are getting anxious because, the debates are around the corner, the election's around the corner, Trump's getting weirder, he's saying weirder stuff, and he's going down different, different lines of communicating that are odd, and, he's talking about the fires in one, saying they're just going to go away and we need to rake the forest, and he's, talking about how he's going to bring out the military if he wins, and we have protests. I mean, it's insane. And he's just, I think that a couple of things that I feel have increased with him, looking at him, is his paranoia, and also his fear, his desperation of what happens if. I feel though, which is good for us, is that he's starting to see a scenario in which he loses. I feel like his whole life has just been just push your way through it. Just push your way, through it. Use the courts, use whatever, and just push your way through. And I feel like he's realizing his limitations, and he's also realizing that he really does have a chance of losing, and what does he do then? So I actually feel like in a way, he's become, in some areas, more detached from reality, and in some areas, more realistic. I do feel like he is talking to people like Barr, like Eric Prince, people like that, about the ideas around military use on election day. And that's a scary thought. However, I feel that Barr and Eric Prince, if they feel like the military is not on Donald Trump's side, which they're not, that there's a problem. They're going to just kind of say it's not possible. But I feel like there's people talking about this right now, and what do we do? I also had a weird dream that I want to tell you about, and it was about a standoff in the White House, and basically Trump was in the White House, and it was like an old police come out with your hands up kind of thing, which wouldn't happen, but it was like a standoff, you need to get out, and if you don't get out, we're coming in to get you. A scenario like that could play out if he plays these games. What I think he's going to realize pretty quickly, because he is going to lose, and there could be things dragged out for maybe a day or two, but I do feel like things are going to be settled pretty quickly. And again, I don't feel a lot of states are going to be close at all. And I do think, like I said, everything's off this time. I feel like they're looking over here and they lose this state. So they're looking over here at Michigan, but they lose Texas. They look over here at, Pennsylvania, and they lose, Arizona. And I feel the same thing with the help from Russia. It's off. There's something off about it. And as you saw with Microsoft, because I had said that the FBI and private companies are trying to ward off Russia. And we just had that thing about Microsoft coming out and saying, we caught them, they're doing this, they're doing that. I'm telling you, private companies are involved, and they're doing, and I feel like they're working not under there's some kind of involvement with the FBI. There's some kind of a partnership. And I don't feel like they're being paid or anything like that. I just feel like there's some kind of something there. We'll probably find out afterwards, but there's something there where they're kind of, I feel like there's a partnership. There's something partnering about them. And then the other thing is that, these private companies are watching. They're watching them. and they're going to catch them. And I feel like everything is just the way that everything kind of worked in their favor. And I've said this before, but I just want to reiterate it because people are writing me and telling me, what about this? What about this? And I feel like every time you ask me, I'm going to look at it because things can change. We know things can change. So, but when I look at it, I see the same thing. It's like everything they do kind of falls flat. And part of it is because there is spirit energy kind of helping this. That's, for lack of a better word, there's a spirit kind of momentum that's happening, that's kind of pushing us to a certain in a certain direction, to help the earth. As long as Trump is sitting in there, the earth is not going to be helped. Some of these this help for lower economic or lower economic status communities and people that are in need of help in certain different kinds of minority communities aren't going to be helped while he's in there. And these are things that need to be taken care of. Everything is very these COVID and the loss of life that's higher in minority communities and the environment, all of these things are very connected. And as long as he sits there, these things are not going to be addressed, and they need to be addressed for our own survival, for our own movement forward. And it's time. It's just time for this to happen. And there's a shift in consciousness that's happening. There's a shift in, there's an end of an era that's happening. And so all of this is kind of culminating at the same time. And so that's why it feels very chaotic at times. And then at times it's like, oh, okay, push forward. It's like we're moving forward. And we're going to kind of feel this through the election. And then it will be like this big push forward that will feel right. And it will bring other people along that may not be on board right now. As the years go on, it will bring people on board because they'll have a stake in it. They'll understand what's happening. And it will make more sense to their life to kind of be involved rather than not be involved. For example, there might be a ton of green jobs that come up, which, I've seen that, and I've seen the infrastructure, and I've seen all kinds of art and music and all of this stuff kind of rising up in a way that it just hasn't in a long time, in a new way that's very positive and very very expressive, and it helps people to heal, and it does so much for our planet and for the people. And so you're going to get caught up in it because maybe you need, you get a green job, and so you're involved at that point. You have a personal stake in it, and some people need that. Some people are younger, developing spirits, and so they need that personal, what's in it for me kind of thing. But those people will be brought along somehow. So I just wanted to let you know, and I do want to tell you that this stuff with the rallies is concerning. It is also something that I saw very early on. Several months ago, I was shown the Jonestown Massacre, and I thought that was like over the top to see, but now we know, no, not at all. This is exactly what's happening. They're feeling like they're giving themselves to something, like they're part of something that's bigger than them. These people have felt disaffected, and so this has given them something to kind of put themselves into. We think it's odd, looking at it from the outside, but to me it's similar to it is a cult. It is has that kind of feel. I know people would be offended hearing that, but it does have same kind of that same kind of feel, because you have a leader that's kind of like, I'm right and everything else is wrong. All you have to do is listen to me and do what I say. And then you have people that have felt pushed out of the system in some way. They felt kind of like outsiders in some way, whether it's economically or because they're they do see a changing world that they can't deal with, or they don't like minorities, or whatever their deals are, but they have felt brought into this, felt part of it, and felt like there's something about it they could get behind. And so it's kind of brought them into something they feel a part of, where they have felt kind of not a part of something for a long time. It has that feel of like a mixture of kind of like a cult and kind of like a gang in a way, because it does have this kind of like, you don't fit out there, well, come with us and you can be with us and we'll be loud and we'll be, we're going to be, in charge. And it has that kind of bullyish aspect to it. So it's a combination. And we're going to see this stuff kind of play out and then kind of fall apart, disintegrate as he loses, and as more of the corruption comes out, and more, they won't have this kind of leader that's the president anymore. He'll be kind of off to the side, and he'll probably be, fighting, going to prison. I mean, it's gonna, and so as this goes on and more stuff comes out, and he doesn't have this bully pulpit anymore to force his view out all the time, every day, every minute of the day, his support will fall away. But there may always be, 10 or 20% that just don't want to give it up. They want to stay in this little group that they feel like is there, where they felt like they fit, and it's sad, but that is what's happening. And it's sad to see. And a lot of people will get sick, and a lot of people will die. And you think, how can they not see what we so clearly see? But like I said, they don't. And it's partly they don't want to see it. They don't want to see it. Okay. So I had a few questions that people asked, and Barbara asked about evangelicals, what is going to happen to them. So I'm going to look at that. And some of these things I looked into before I came on, which are some of the things I've been talking about. And then some I'm going to look at that one just live, just to see what comes up. Okay, so they're splitting it up for me. There's a part that are completely cynical. They're in it for the money. And I would put a lot of those at the top of the heap, that like leaders, that it's weird, because it's like I'm on the fence as to whether they actually believe the religious part, because to me, I feel like even if they do, the kind of the money and the lifestyle kind of supersede that. So if they did at one time, it's kind of like maintaining the lifestyle has superseded that. So you've got that part, and then they're splitting it up to another fraction that is complete believers. They just believe the Bible. They believe in the last days. They believe they're part of it. It makes them feel special, to think these are the last days and we're part of the last days. And so they're kind of pushing for these things to happen. It gives them something to sacrifice themselves for, in a weird way. And then I also see people that are like, they're putting them as like a portion of people that are like single issue, like they just care about abortion. They just care about Israel. There are certain parts of the group too that are just single issue people. But that's kind of they're showing how. But it is really like they're being led astray, because the leaders feel like many of them are lost. They're completely enamored with this power and money aspect. So that may be what you've also picked up on. But that is, clearly I can see these sections of people that are kind of in their little sections, but they kind of, come together to form these evangelical groups, but they're in it for different reasons. Okay, and I had someone ask about the children of today, that they are looked at as being kind of spiritually special, in that and if you have a child that's around like Cassie's age, around in their right now they're around, between like 18 and 24, 25, they do have a very, sorry, I have my light on. They do have a very different way of looking at the world. You know, they don't really, they don't have the view of being caught up in anything like prejudices. It's almost as if they don't even play in like the lower level kind of frequencies, of like being prejudiced and being jealous and being, those kind of almost like lower level vibrations. It's almost like they come in at a higher vibration. And so that is kind of how I see it. And I feel like that's kind of what we're looking at, is it's almost as if they have entered in a higher vibration. So some of these things aren't even going to be a factor. It's like, of course we should save the earth. Of course we should be worried about animals. Of course we should care about children. Of course we should, and of course our government shouldn't be led by money. It's like they have a level of vibration that's just a little bit more. They come in with more information almost, and vibrating at a higher level. So that's kind of how I see it. And how it's being shown to me is like they're just coming in at a higher frequency. So that's kind of that. I hope that explains at least some of it. And that can affect so many things. It can affect the way they deal with problems and deal with, how what their attitude is about the world, and how they kind of see people as we're all very connected. They don't have those feelings of like the other, that kind of stuff. So it affects being at that higher vibration and not even kind of even entertaining those lower vibration tendencies. That really kind of makes their world look very different than ours. And somebody asked about the spiritual reason behind the shootings, like Black Lives Matter, the police shootings, and the police, being involved in this. And to me, this was one I had to look at because I have my own feelings about it. So I really had to kind of back up and look at it from a spiritual perspective. And part of it is, particularly in the United States, forcing this issue forward, because we have to move past it. We've got to get past it. There's going to be, through this shift, there's going to be a lot of understanding that we're all connected. And that is going to change a lot of lots of the ways we do things, in taking care of the earth and taking care of each other and making sure that, animals are taken care of and those kind of things. There needs to be this understanding of human connectedness and living thing connectedness. And so this is a very old issue that needs to kind of be pushed to the front. But I will say that on a kind of more base level, like if you're just looking at what's happening, there have been a lot of white supremacist and kind of in certain communities, not everywhere, but in certain communities, kind of, it's almost like being attracted to and kind of infiltrating the some of the police in different areas of the country. And it's this kind of this white, it is like a superiority, it is like they thinking they're kind of superior, having this power, and then also, though, not knowing how to, feeling that every single situation is to be one person overpowering another. There isn't, and I'm just talking about these people, these cases that we've seen, and this type of officer that we've seen. It's like every situation needs somebody to overpower someone else, rather than let's come together, let's talk about it, let's figure this out. it's kind of like that's the way that they have come to deal with problems both in their own life and out here when they work in their job. And it would probably be, with in other areas of their life, to shout people down, say I'm a police officer, to get your point across, that kind of thing, that kind of like overpowering. There's something about that as well that's come into play in a way that is, it's tipping us over in a way that it hasn't before. There's a lot of it. And part of it, I think, is, people that have had a kind of power position or desire a power position are kind of seeing that we all matter. We all do have power. We have power over ourselves, and we have power in our own circumstance, and we all deserve to, find our personal power. And so it's these weird kind of, at least this is the way it's being shown to me, as kind of a weird power structure and power play that's kind of being molded and changed, partly through what's happening, and then partly in a spiritual way too. So I hope that explains it. I hope I explained it correctly, but that is kind of how it is like I'm seeing these weird, power positions kind of being, things being brought to the edge and having to figure this out. And we will figure it out. We will. It will take time, and it's through these awful murders that we're now like witnessing witnessing right in front of us, that we can't ignore it anymore. And so it is going to push us to a place that we need to go to fix this stuff. And I really do feel like it will be addressed and fixed in the proper way. I feel like right now it's not. And when you've got Trump kind of pushing that kind of like, we'll just overpower them, we'll just, that it feeds into that. And so it's not helping right now. So we need someone who's the opposite of that, who can see the more, the delicate nature of all of these problems, that needs to come and be in charge and start to understand it. It's weird. I just saw that Vindman. I'm wondering if he's going to have something to do with something in military or something about this. But I just saw him. So I'm wondering if he's going to have some kind of part to play in what we were just talking about in structures of power or something. So I just saw him. So he just came up. Just letting you know. Okay. Somebody also asked me what's going to happen in Ohio and Florida. It's weird because Florida, I kind of feel like is like, it's being really infiltrated by like misinformation, Russia, Trump. I just feel like there's a real desire to take Florida, but again, it's like they're going to focus on Florida and they're going to lose Texas and they're going to lose this and that. No, Ohio, I feel like may go to Biden. For some reason, I just kind of feel like it may. But Florida, I just feel like there's too much, like they're infiltrating it. It's like, and it's Russia too. It's not just the Trump people, and it's not just like their corrupt governor. It's not that. It's Russia too. So that's what I'm seeing as far as that is concerned. And there may even be some things that come out about that or some things. I'm feeling like people know. But Florida, I'm not quite sure about that, you guys. But Ohio, that could be a Biden. And Texas, I feel very strong about Texas for some reason. So we'll see. Okay, so trying to see if there's anything else. Oh, somebody asked about the increase in young people's suicide. And really clearly, I did look at this and really clearly, the idea of loneliness came up, and loneliness in that I feel like is going to, and I do feel like it's kind of one of these things that through this act of suicide, through these acts, young people are trying to call attention to it. I don't think they know that. I think that I think will be the kind of the what happens is that, but there is a big like emphasis on loneliness, being lonely, feeling separate, feeling like not part of things. And I think COVID, and I think the way that we're having to live right now, and also a lot of kids just texting, just not having that human contact and human kind of human conversation and things like that have really affected people, young people, in a way that I think has made them feel lonely and feel kind of separate from things. And I do feel like things are going to change, but just like the school shootings kind of called attention to a problem, an issue with guns, and how it's that it's got out of control, and all of these kind of issues with mental health and things like that. This, I feel, is going to make us look at loneliness as kind of a disease, as kind of something that needs to be fixed. So I do think it will lead to something kind of positive, but it's such a horrible thing that's happening. So that's what I saw. I wanted to bring your attention to two things. One is I'm going to give money to something called Operation Underground Railroad. It's for kids that are in sex trafficking and that kind of thing through the world, and slavery, that kind of thing throughout the world. It's a lot of it is slavery. So it's going to be, it's called ourrescue.org, and that's what I'm going to be giving some money to. I'm also giving to the Harris-Biden campaign, which I will till the election. So we'll give it two more times, and to KIND, Kids in Need of Defense, for the kids on the border. So I hope that, and I said kid last time, but it's KIND, KIND. So I'm going to give to those in October. And so that's what we're giving to in October. And I'm just kind of talking about that now because I'm trying to get my ideas in order for what's going to come, before, to help with the election, and where I feel like my, our Intuitiview, donations should go. So that's what I decided. So the last thing I want to talk about that I keep getting is something weird about the debates. And I know that it's like, Fox kind of taking control, but I really feel like Biden is like super prepared and is really, really good. And I almost feel like something may happen where Trump may walk off, or kind of like make some real kind of lose his temper or something. I feel like there's something, though, that's it feels very much like it really does help Biden. And I do feel like because of the way this works out, there may not be other debates. There may be. I mean, I'm not saying there won't be, but I'm just saying that it feels like it really is not good for Trump, and it's really good for Biden. So that's how I'm seeing it. And then the same with the vice presidential. I feel like the vice presidential is a little less like fighting, but I do feel like Kamala Harris and Joe Biden just are so prepared. They just are slamming home all of these lies, and they've got the statistics, and they've got it's like they are so prepared, and not so much with Pence, but with Trump, I feel like he just thinks he's going to go out and wing it, like he does with the press, and he's going to go out and wing it and just be great. And it just doesn't work out. He doesn't have the numbers. He doesn't have the data at his disposal. So he comes off looking kind of, dumb, surprise, surprise, but he looks unprepared and ill-informed and looks kind of like a bully. He just doesn't come off looking good at all. So I'm anxious to see it. And I even, there is a possibility that he backs out of the other one. So I just want to let you know that if they go through with this debate, because it almost sounds like he's like trying to, Trump is trying to do things that will maybe put it off, because he's like, we should get a drug test and we could do this, and but I feel like Biden is very, very good on the night. So whatever preparations he's doing, it really does work. So I'm happy about that. And as far as election day, I do feel like it could go into, another 24 or 48 hours, but I do feel like it's clear that Trump loses. And I just feel like there is a plan B, like I talked about, kind of go to the courts, but it's not gonna work in the long run. They're gonna have to get out. I have been really concentrating, and I suggest that you guys concentrate on not so much Trump leaving, although I picture him being carried out by, armed guards, but to focus in on, and we kind of talked about this on the Psychic Sisters channel, which we have 2 new videos coming up, so check that out. There'll be a link below. But it is kind of like, there is this feeling about seeing them take their place, being sworn in. Picture Biden being sworn in. Picture Kamala Harris up there. What does she wear? What does her hair look like? Paint a picture and paint it as clear as possible. And don't so much worry about how we get there. Just picture that there and make it real as possible. Hear the sounds. Look at the colors. Look at the crowd size, even though everyone will be socially distanced and wearing masks, of course. What does it look like? What does it feel like? What does who's in the audience? Do you see the Clintons there? Do you see the Obamas there? What's happening? And look at the smiles on their faces and the relief that you would feel, but make it as real as possible and just kind of bask in it. And don't worry, don't put that, that other energy of like, but how are we going to get there into it? Just see it. Just see it happening and let the universe carry us there. That's how manifesting works. You don't try to put out every single step that's going to get you there or worry about how you're going to get there. You just see it and paint as realistic picture as possible and match your vibration with what's happening so that you can be part of it. You're part of the vision rather than just seeing it as a kind of a separate thing from you. It's like you become part of it, and therefore you kind of lighten your vibration to be part of it. And that's what manifesting is about. And when you put in place, well, I guess this could happen and this could happen and this, and you put in place a way to get there, you are limiting the universe, you're limiting your guides in ways we can get there. And all of us, I think, will be surprised at how we do get there. I think there'll be twists and turns that none of us see, but I feel like it's time now to kind of paint that picture and see ourselves there and match our vibration with what's happening in that picture and just put ourselves there. We're going to get there, you guys. I'm telling you. Be patient with this process. Take it day by day. Take time off from the news when you need to. About every, 15th, 16th, 17th day, I hit a wall too. If you follow me on Twitter, that's true. I will have a day where I'll just be writing to Trump, you're going to lose, you're getting out. We all have those days. It's impossible. And the point of it is when you have those feelings come up, that worry, nervousness, fear, sadness, loneliness, feel them and let them come out, because you don't want to bury things like that, but don't wallow in it. Just feel it and then let it go. Let it go. Okay? I love you guys. Thank you so much for all of the wonderful comments that you make, the wonderful emails. I have the kindest, most generous, loving audience of, you know, any channel. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. Although I know that, you know, these communities are so wonderful, and so I love seeing the conversations between, you know, subscriber members, just, you know, talking about different movies, and giving each other ideas for different websites and different channels and different, you know, other psychics and things that you like. And I just think it's so wonderful. That is what this is about. It's about lifting each other up and helping each other along this journey, because it's so day to day. It's so minute to minute. You know, we're in this, but we're gonna get through it. And I thought I should. Oh, I was gonna pull a surrender card just because I thought it might be a good idea for what to surrender to for the next week. Just see where we are, since it is. I'm not sure when this will go up. It may go up Tuesday, but it is Monday, so I'm gonna pull a card. And if you don't know what these are, I don't really deal in cards, but I do use them for myself, because I need. When you read for yourself, a lot of times you do need validation, because you're you, and you have your own hopes and dreams. So, but I do use this deck of cards. I love it. It's called the Power of Surrender cards. They look like that, and they're beautiful. They have these little sunset scenes on the back. I just love them. I just think they're so pretty, and I love them. So, and the way that I use them is I fan them out, and I'll put the thing down so you can kind of see. I fan them out like this, and it's just the way that I use them. I usually hold them up to me. I fan them out, and you know, if they're your cards, so they carry your energy with them, and they can, you know, they're yours. But I usually, you know, I'll hold them to myself, and I'll kind of just touch them, you know, kind of, it's almost like blending your energy with the cards. And then I go over the cards with my hand kind of like this over the cards being fanned out. And I feel a little bit of heat in my hand when I feel like I should stop. You might feel like a chill, or you might feel a little tingling or something. But if you just put your hand right over the card like that, like there's very little room between you and the cards, and I just put them through. So I'm going to ask my guides what we should be surrendering to this week as we get closer to the election, and as Trump's going crazier. Okay. And these, I'm going to just pull one, but these cards are scarily accurate when you have them and they're yours. And so if you do get them, just know that they can be kind of, I'll say creepy, but they can be kind of like, whoa, that is exactly what I needed to hear. And I know that it was. So, and ours this week is Surrender to Prayer. I got an email from somebody who said, I have been praying a lot. I mean, praying a lot. And what does it say here? It's getting dark in this room. That's why I've got my light. But it says, give yourself over completely to prayer. When you pray from your heart, you'll be heard throughout the universe, and answers and support will arrive. That is perfect. I mean, honestly, that is perfect. And it is what we're talking about when we're talking about what's coming, what's going to come. And prayer is one of my tools that I use to do this channel. I pray for guidance, for protection. And as you move through your day, pray. And it does also, when you pray, you're also brought back to the present moment. And you're brought back to thinking in a way that kind of your higher self tells you when you pray what you need. And you find yourself asking for exactly the right thing. The exact right guidance, because your higher self, it's almost like when you pray, your higher self kind of chimes in, has its own opinion about what you need. And so I'm going to do that. I hope you guys do too. We'll do it together this week, and I will hopefully be talking to you guys over the weekend. And if you're interested in my classes, please go to Intuitiview.com. On the 21st, you can go there before then, and you'll see the description. You click on prices, and you'll go see the description of the classes, what they cost, how much the mentoring sessions are. And on the 21st, you'll go back. And the only reason you have to go on the 21st is if you want a mentoring session, because those will be limited. Just because I want to get back to regular readings in January. But if you want to use a regular reading for a mentoring session, you can do that too. So, but go to intuitiview.com, and you can, on the 21st, you can sign up for classes, sign up for a mentoring session. But if you don't care about a mentoring session, you just want to do the classes, then you can sign up anytime after the 21st. You don't have to go on the 21st. And you can just download the classes and you work at your own pace. So the first class is setting up your practice. The second class is figuring out where do your abilities lie. And then the third class is exercises and questions you're going to come to as you work through this process. So I hope it's a complete program where you can kind of work through it and keep going back and be, open-minded and patient as you work through these classes, because it's a process. And it is for everybody, no matter how gifted you are, and we say gifted, but no matter how in touch you are with your abilities, it's still a process that you go through to get information. So, but it's exciting. It's very exciting. And I'm so grateful to my guides for helping me channel these classes. And I'm so happy to hand them over to you as information so that you can start to use your own abilities. And then when you need to, or when you really want to, you can go to a psychic or an intuitive, but you don't have to. You can tune into your own inner compass, your own inner knowing, and let it guide you. Okay, it's gotten really dark in here. I feel like I'm like a ghost. I'm like shining. So I will talk to you guys soon. Have a good one, and take care of each other, guys. Right now, hug your little pets, and just be well, and take care. Okay, bye, guys.